Ladies, let me tell you something today. Something that may surprise you, something that you may not even realize. Men notice things about you that you might think go unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. And I'm not talking about the surface level, not just the way you look or the way you dress. I'm talking about the things that show your character, your strength, your beauty, the kind of beauty that lasts. See, often, women underestimate how deeply men pay attention. You think we're blind to the little things, but the truth is, we see them, and those things, those small and powerful things, matter more than you can imagine. So today, let me share with you the 7 things women have no idea men notice about them. And I'll break it down into 5 key takeaways that will help you understand just how valuable, just how cherished, and just how extraordinary you really are. Your confidence without words, there's a power about you that you might not even notice yourself. It's not in the brand of clothes you wear. It's not in how carefully your makeup is applied. It's not even in how bright your smile looks in the mirror. No, it's something deeper. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't have to say a word, because it's already speaking louder than anything you could ever explain. When you walk into a room, you think people are noticing your hair, your shoes, maybe your posture. And yes, maybe they are, but what they're really noticing is the quiet assurance that radiates off you without effort. It's not arrogance, it's not pride, it's not pretending to be more than you are. It's this grounded sense of knowing exactly who you are, and not needing anyone's permission to be her. See, confidence doesn't scream, it doesn't need to, it whispers, it rests, it carries itself with peace. And that's what men notice, even if they don't put it into words. They notice the woman who walks into a space and doesn't shrink. She doesn't apologize for existing. She doesn't dim her light so that someone else can shine brighter. She just stands, fully, unapologetically, completely herself. Think about it. How many times have you caught someone's attention without even trying? Maybe you didn't say a word. Maybe you weren't the loudest in the room. But something about the way you carried yourself drew eyes toward you. That's not coincidence. That's the gravity of presence. That's the kind of confidence that can't be bought, can't be faked, and can't be taken away. But here's the part you may not realize. Real confidence is not about perfection. Men notice this too. It's not about having flawless skin, the perfect body, or the latest fashion. True confidence shows up when you embrace your imperfections and carry them with grace. When you laugh at yourself instead of tearing yourself down. When you can admit you don't know something, but you're willing to learn. When you walk with your head up, not because you think you're better than anyone, but because you know you have nothing to prove. Men notice when you're comfortable in your own skin. They notice the difference between a woman who needs validation and a woman who chooses validation from within. And let me tell you this, the second kind of woman, the one who decides her worth without waiting for someone else to stamp it, is unforgettable. It's the way you order your coffee without hesitation. It's the way you step into a meeting with clarity in your voice. It's the way you handle a challenge without falling apart at the first sign of pressure. It's the way you look someone in the eyes when you talk to them, instead of looking at the floor. Those small things. Men notice them. They may never say it out loud, but it stays with them. Now, here's what's even more powerful. Confidence is contagious. When you carry it, you give silent permission to everyone around you to rise a little taller, to breathe a little deeper, to believe a little stronger. A man will notice when your presence shifts the atmosphere, when you bring calm where there's chaos, when you bring light where there's heaviness. That's the unspoken influence of true confidence. And you might think, but what if I don't feel confident? What if I'm struggling? Listen, confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. Men notice when you take steps even while your knees are shaking. They notice when you choose courage over comfort. They notice when you stop trying to be someone else's version of perfect and start becoming your own version of whole. So stop underestimating yourself. Stop assuming no one notices the way you show up. Because they do. Men notice the quiet power of a woman who knows her value. They notice the strength in your stillness, the grace in your walk, the assurance in your silence. They notice, and they remember. Your confidence without words is louder than any speech you could ever give. It tells the world, this is me, and that's enough. And that, right there, is unforgettable. The way you treat others, there's a detail about you that you may think goes unnoticed. A detail so small that you probably don't even think about it twice. But men notice, and it's this: the way you treat people. Not just the people you love, not just the ones who can give you something back. No, it's the way you treat everyone: the stranger on the street, the cashier at the store, the friend who calls when you're exhausted, the coworker who gets overlooked, the waiter who brings your food. It's those little moments that speak louder than you know, because here's the truth: character isn't revealed when life is easy. Character is revealed in the everyday interactions that seem small, the words you use, the tone in your voice, the patience you show, the respect you give when no one else is paying attention. That's where the real beauty shines. Men notice when you smile at someone who looks invisible. They notice when you say thank you, even when no one expects it. They notice when you extend kindness to people who can't repay you. Why? Because it's rare, and rare always stands out. Think about the last time you were around someone who made every person in the room feel valued. It's unforgettable, isn't it? That's the kind of presence you carry when you treat people with respect. That's the kind of moment that lingers in a man's mind long after the conversation is over. Now, let's be real for a moment. Life will test you, people will frustrate you, situations will tempt you to snap, to be short, to show impatience, and nobody's perfect. We all have those moments, but men notice how you handle them. They notice if you take a breath instead of blowing up. They notice if you speak with dignity instead of disrespect. They notice if you choose grace over pride. See, it's easy to treat someone well when it benefits you, but it says something entirely different when you treat someone well simply because it's the right thing to do. That's the kind of character that sets you apart. That's the kind of heart that men remember. And let me tell you something even deeper. How you talk about people when they're not in the room, that speaks volumes. Men notice when you choose not to gossip, when you refuse to tear someone down, when you lift others up even when it costs you nothing. It's the quiet integrity that no one claps for, but everyone respects. Your kindness is not weakness. Don't ever confuse the two. Kindness is strength under control. It's courage dressed in gentleness, and men see it. They see when you carry compassion without expecting anything in return. They see when you choose to forgive instead of holding on to bitterness. They see when you choose to bless instead of curse. And let me tell you, that kind of woman, she leaves a mark that can't be erased. But here's the part you may not realize. Men notice how you treat them too. Not just when things are easy, but when they fail, when they stumble, when they don't have it all together. Do you encourage or criticize? Do you build or tear down? Do you believe in them when they can't believe in themselves? That treatment, it sticks, it shapes, it transforms, and it's not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about showing up with authenticity, with respect, with grace. That's the kind of presence that doesn't just make an impression, it changes the atmosphere. So never think your small acts of kindness don't matter. Never assume that no one notices when you choose to treat people with dignity, because men notice. Deeply, quietly, gratefully, and the truth is, those moments define you far more than the surface ever could. The way you treat others tells the world everything they need to know about your heart. And a good heart, that's unforgettable. Your resilience in struggle, there's something powerful about a woman who refuses to give up. Something breathtaking about the way she carries herself through storms. And here's the truth. You may not even realize it yourself, but men notice. They notice the way you keep moving forward even when life feels like it's pushing you backward. They notice how you face struggles that could have broken you, but instead, they built you. They notice the strength in your silence, the courage in your tears, and the fire in your spirit when everything in you wants to quit. See, resilience doesn't always look loud. It's not always about standing tall with your chin high and your fists clenched. Sometimes it looks like showing up to work, when you barely had the energy to get out of bed. Sometimes it looks like holding your family together when you feel like you're falling apart yourself. Sometimes it looks like smiling at your children, even when your heart is heavy with burdens they'll never know about. That's resilience, that's grit, that's strength in motion, and men notice it. Not in the way society often praises surface level toughness, but in the way they quietly admire a woman who refuses to let life define her by her hardest days. Men notice the way you bend but don't break, the way you fall but stand back up again, the way you carry scars but still shine with grace. Maybe you don't see yourself as strong, maybe you see yourself as tired, worn down, just trying to make it through. But let me tell you this, resilience isn't about never feeling weak. It's about what you do with that weakness. Men notice when you keep going despite it. They notice when you turn pain into purpose. They notice when you take broken pieces and build something beautiful anyway. Think about the woman who's faced loss, disappointment, betrayal, or heartbreak, and yet she still stands. That kind of strength is not just noticed, it's honored. Men may not always put it into words, but it leaves an imprint on them. Because resilience is not just about surviving. It's about choosing to keep loving, to keep believing, to keep fighting, even when it would be easier to give up. And here's something important. Resilience doesn't mean pretending you're okay when you're not. Men notice honesty too. They see the bravery in admitting when you're struggling, the courage in asking for help, the strength in letting yourself be vulnerable. Resilience is not about wearing a mask. It's about showing up authentically, scars and all, and still pressing forward. You may think your battles go unseen. You may believe nobody knows the weight you're carrying. But trust me, men notice. They see the way you handle adversity. They see the way you refuse to stay down. They see the way you keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because you know who you are and what you stand for. And let's be real. Life is never short of storms. There will always be challenges, but here's the secret. The storms reveal your strength. They show the world, and yourself, that you're tougher than you thought. Men notice that. They notice the quiet warrior in you, the fighter who gets knocked down 7 times but stands up 8. The soul that chooses faith over fear, courage over comfort, perseverance over quitting. And let me say this. You may think resilience makes you hard, but the truth is, it makes you beautiful, it makes you inspiring, because strength wrapped in grace is unforgettable. A woman who can endure struggle and still love deeply, still laugh freely, still give generously, that's the kind of resilience men don't just notice, they admire. So don't underestimate yourself. Don't think your resilience has gone unseen. Because every step you take through struggle, every tear you wipe away, every battle you overcome, it leaves a mark. It tells the world you're not just surviving, you're thriving, and men notice. They notice the fighter inside you. They notice the survivor you've become. They notice the quiet power of a woman who has walked through fire and come out stronger, brighter, unshaken. That resilience, that's unforgettable. Your authentic laughter, there is a sound that lingers long after it fades. A sound that cuts through heaviness, that softens walls, that lights up a room without permission. That sound is your laughter, and maybe you don't realize it. Maybe you think it's just a little giggle, or maybe you've even been told it's too loud, too awkward, too different. But men notice, and not in the way you think. They don't notice because it's polished, or perfect, or rehearsed. They notice because it's real. There's something magnetic about authentic laughter. The kind that isn't staged for a photo, the kind that isn't filtered for approval, the kind that comes from deep in your soul. When you laugh, really laugh, without holding back, it reveals the truest version of you. And that is unforgettable. Think about the last time you laughed so hard you couldn't catch your breath. Maybe tears were streaming down your face, maybe your stomach hurt, maybe you made a sound that was anything but cute. But in that moment, you were free, and freedom is beautiful. Freedom is rare. Freedom is noticed. Men notice when your laughter is unguarded. They notice when you aren't trying to impress anyone, when you aren't measuring yourself against the room, when you let joy overflow naturally. Because joy is not something you can fake. You can fake a smile, you can fake words, but laughter, real laughter tells the truth every time, and it's not just the sound, it's the spirit behind it. Men notice when you find joy in simple things, when you laugh at silly moments, when you can turn an awkward mistake into something funny instead of embarrassing. They notice when you let go of the need to be perfect and allow yourself to just be human. That kind of laughter is healing, and healing is powerful. Here's what makes it even more impactful. Laughter creates connection. Men notice how your laughter makes others feel safe, included, seen. They notice when your joy draws people in, when it lifts the mood of a heavy room, when it eases the tension nobody else knew how to break. That ability, that's not small, that's a gift, but maybe you've silenced your laughter. Maybe somewhere along the way, someone told you it was too much, too loud, too strange, so you toned it down, you muted yourself. You tucked your joy away because you were afraid of being judged, and let me tell you, that's a tragedy. Because your laughter was never meant to be hidden, it was meant to be heard. Men notice when a woman chooses to reclaim her joy, when she decides she doesn't care who thinks it's silly, when she laughs anyway, when she refuses to let the world steal her spark. That kind of confidence, wrapped in laughter, is unforgettable. And here's something deeper. Men notice when your laughter comes after pain. When you've been through heartbreak, through disappointment, through grief, and yet you still find moments of joy, that kind of laughter carries weight. It says, life didn't break me, I still choose happiness. That's the kind of strength that inspires. Because laughter is resilience in motion. It's a declaration that darkness didn't win. It's a signal that no matter what tried to steal your joy, it failed. Men may not always say it, but they see it. They hear it, they feel it, and it changes them. So never underestimate the power of your laughter. Never think it goes unnoticed, because men notice. They notice when your laughter fills a room. They notice when it fills their hearts. They notice when it reminds them that life, even in its struggles, is still worth enjoying. And here's the truth. You don't need a perfect laugh. You don't need to sound like anyone else. The beauty of it is that it's yours. Unique, unrepeatable, authentic, and authenticity, that's rare, and rare will always be remembered. So laugh without apology. Laugh without hesitation. Laugh like the world is still good, because in that moment it is. And men notice. They notice the realness, the lightness, the freedom in your laughter. Your authentic joy is one of the most powerful things you carry, and it will never go unseen. The way you believe in us, there's something women carry that is more powerful than they may ever realize. And men, we notice it, we feel it, we're changed by it. It's the way you believe in us, even when we don't believe in ourselves. Every man, no matter how strong he looks on the outside, wrestles with doubts, quiet fears, silent battles that he rarely speaks of, questions about whether he's good enough, whether he has what it takes, whether he's really capable of becoming the man he wants to be. He may not show it. He may cover it with confidence or jokes or a hardened exterior, but inside, every man has moments when his strength feels small, and that's where you come in. Because men notice when a woman believes in them. They notice the words of encouragement spoken at the right time. They notice the way you look at them, not with judgment, but with faith. They notice when you see something in them that they can't yet see in themselves. It may seem small to you. A "you've got this," a hand on the shoulder, a smile that says, "I trust you." But to a man fighting his own doubts, it's not small, it's life giving. It's fuel. It's a reminder that he's not fighting alone. Think about these. Every man wants to be respected. Every man wants to feel capable, to feel trusted. And when a woman chooses to believe in him, it awakens something inside. It doesn't just encourage him, it strengthens him. It calls him higher. It pushes him to rise into the man she already sees. And men notice it. They notice when you choose to build rather than tear down. They notice when you call out their strengths instead of magnifying their flaws. They notice when you remind them of their purpose instead of replaying their failures. They may not always say thank you, but they feel it, they carry it, it becomes a part of them. Now, let's be clear. Believing in a man doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. It doesn't mean lowering your standards or tolerating less than respect. No, belief is not blind. Belief is choosing to recognize potential. It's speaking life where others speak doubt. It's reminding him of who he can be, not enabling him to stay where he is. And men notice the difference. Men notice when you believe in them not because of what they've already achieved, but because of who they are at their core. They notice when you believe in their character, their dreams, their future. They notice when your faith in them is not conditional, it's consistent. And here's the thing, your belief doesn't just impact them, it transforms them. It shifts the way they see themselves. It gives them the courage to step into challenges they might otherwise avoid. It strengthens them to fight battles they might otherwise surrender. That's the power you hold. You may not see it, but men notice when your voice is the one they hear in the back of their mind, pushing them forward. They notice when your encouragement echoes louder than their fear. They notice when your faith in them becomes the anchor that steadies their soul in a storm. And listen, sometimes belief isn't loud. Sometimes it's not a big speech or a dramatic moment. Sometimes it's just standing beside them. Sometimes it's just being present. Sometimes it's just not giving up on them when they're ready to give up on themselves. That quiet, steady faith, men notice it. And it changes everything. So never underestimate the power of your belief. Never assume it goes unseen, because men notice. They notice when your words breathe life instead of draining it. They notice when your presence brings strength instead of pressure. They notice when your faith makes them want to rise higher, fight harder, and become better. The way you believe in us, it's not just noticed, it's remembered, it's carried, it's cherished, and sometimes it's the very thing that keeps us going. Ladies, here's the truth. You've spent so much time wondering if anyone really notices you, if anyone sees the small things, the hidden things, the real things. And maybe, somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself they don't, that your effort goes unseen, that your worth is invisible, that what makes you extraordinary gets lost in the noise of the world. But let me remind you, men notice more than you think. They notice your confidence, the kind that speaks without words. They notice the way you treat others when no one else is watching. They notice the resilience you carry through struggle, the way you refuse to stay down. They notice the joy in your laughter, the authenticity that can't be faked. And they notice the way you believe in them, the quiet strength that lifts when they can't lift themselves. And it's not about perfection. It's never been about flawless appearances, staged smiles, or scripted words. It's about authenticity. It's about the real you, the woman who shows up every day, imperfect but powerful, flawed but fearless, ordinary in the world's eyes but extraordinary in ways that can't be measured. So stop underestimating yourself. Stop thinking you are unseen, because you are seen, you are valued. You are noticed in ways you may never hear spoken, but felt in ways that last forever. Your confidence inspires. Your kindness heals. Your resilience strengthens. Your laughter restores. Your belief transforms. And the beauty of it all, you don't have to try harder, dress louder, or strive endlessly to be enough. You already are. The things you overlook in yourself are the very things others remember most. The things you call ordinary are the things that make you unforgettable. So walk boldly. Treat people with grace. Keep fighting through the storms, laugh without apology, and never stop believing in others, yes, but most of all in yourself. Because the truth is this, the life you live in quiet strength and authentic beauty, it's already speaking louder than you know, and trust me, men notice.